And it's just ironic that our names are Christian and Faith.
Welcome to Vulnerability is In,
presented by No Subject Apparel and recorded at No Subject Studios.
I'm Christian.
And I'm Faith.
And together we explore queer culture while promoting self-love and expression of identity with fun and powerful conversations on today's understanding of what it means to be vulnerable.
What's up, everybody? So today we're going to do things slightly different. We do not have a guest this week like we planned on. But you have heard us talk about the game We're Not Really Strangers multiple times. And they have these additional game packs you can buy as well. And we are actually going to pull some random cards today of some of those cards. And Christian and I are just going to go back and forth and answer a few, or two or three or 7, 8. I don't know. It depends how much talking we do. But Christian, do you want to talk about the pack that you have?
Yeah, this is actually one of my friends' packs. Natalie, shout out to you if you're listening to this. This also isn't an ad, but we definitely do love We're Not Really Strangers. But this pack in particular, it's a self-reflection edition. And basically, whenever I have been going through like some stuff, Natalie was like, I really think you should go through this and like read some of these things. And at the time, it was a little bit too hard, so I haven't opened up the pack since. But yeah, we picked out some cards that we think would fit very well for ourselves, and kind of feeding off of back and forth, like how we feel whenever we read some of these. And just it fits well with the podcast as well, with some of the things that we've already discussed for the new year and previous episodes and everything. And we also want to do it to kind of answer these questions now, and then maybe, at the end of the year type of thing where we listen back to what we stated and see like where we're at. Reflect on the reflection pack,
Reflect on the reflection.
That's what it's for. Writing down basically what you're supposed to do is write down those prompts that you do see, and then you journal it. And in a way, we are seeing how we feel about these questions in particular now. And then again, seeing what growth and the things and changes that we made, and if we still do feel the same whenever we do visit back on it towards the end of 2022.
Cool.
So yeah, we'll start off. I'll read off the cards, Fifi, and I think that whenever I read them off, you can answer. But also, if I need to go in and say how I feel, we can do that. But I want to hear both of our sides from it. The first question, let's see. Oh, okay. I think this is a good one to kind of jump right into. What's my most toxic trait I can admit to, and where do I think it stems from?
I don't know like a one word to call the trait, but it's probably that thing. You've witnessed me be this way plenty. It's not clingy, but it's definitely one of those things where if I'm in conflict, I just cannot chill and let it breathe. I've got to fix it right then and there, and I will make it 10 times worse if that's what doing that means.
Okay.
I'm like, I gotta fix it. And maybe sometimes it's not toxic, but there are plenty of times that it has been. And then I'll like dwell on the whole thing, and then anxiety.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think looking into this and reading this question, because I'm trying not to think too deep into it to stem off of that. I think whenever I first think of this and how you answered it is, so would you say, reading this question, like what's my most toxic trait I can admit to, would you implement that as a toxic trait that you see yourself as? Or would you say that this particular thing is something that like others have seen?
I would say both.
Both.
It's definitely something that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And also I know, because I know there's been times that drives Morgan nuts too. I'm like, no, I need us to do this right now.
Yeah.
And she's probably more of a sit and let it be for a second kind of thing. And I just am not. So
that's what I was thinking, like looking into it. I definitely see, like, I've seen that side of you as well. Mm-hmm. But I also am one of the ones where, yes, I do like kind of want to get to the bottom of it, but I'm open to like both of us processing, you know, I think words are important. And in the heat of the moment for myself, technically the reason why I like that, because in the heat of the moment, I can become like escalated quickly, especially because of the overthinking side. And like, I would say I'm similar. My toxic trait that I can admit to is similar to yours, but I would say mine more so, because I also think of this as technically like a red flag. Is I would say mine would be realistically, like I do assume or like jump to conclusion that I would admit to. And technically where I would say this stems from is how my past has been presented to me. And technically whenever I have jumped to conclusion or assumed, I didn't go about it in a healthy way. That's where the toxic trait comes from. But also my assumptions and me jumping to that conclusion weren't necessarily wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
So to me, yes, it's very toxic how I went about it. But the receiving end of that as well, that's where technically it stems from, because it's like, there have been situations that I've been in that has brought that out, you know? And where I'm at now with that is I think this is a very important question because, as you said, like you are aware of it. And I too have been very much aware of it. And luckily I have people in my life now that help me be aware of it. And they help me be aware of it in a very, I would say it's going in a way better direction as to where previously, like, I'm not saying I wasn't necessarily shut down, but I wasn't getting the reassurance that I thought technically like I needed, you know? And sometimes it's difficult to ask for reassurance there, but you know me, I can go down a whole freaking spiral with these questions if I really needed to. Overall, yes, jumping to conclusion, it stems from technically the assumption and the jumping to conclusion in my past and how all of those situations played out.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. I think this would be good. What's the most exciting improvement I've been seeing in myself recently?
So I would say almost all of last year. I got lazy and didn't do much of anything. And by that, I'm not talking about like active things, but just I watched some shows and that was about what I was doing. Didn't play guitar much or anything. Probably wrote 2 songs, maybe all of last year. Maybe only liked one of them. Just not really a lot happening in that creative realm. But now I'm actually working on a couple new demos. But more than that is I kind of finally got the motivation to work on some other music stuff. So I've been doing some projects where people are paying me to record their stuff.
Ooh, okay.
So that's been nice. I've got like 3 projects going on at once right now. So.
That's good. And I definitely think like overall for people who are creative in that, like especially with music and everything, I think a lot of it has improved for them because of COVID and everything. Like it was a big transition for the creative side for like musicians and artists and everything, because it was just I mean, you perform for people, and of course they had live streams and things like that. Yeah. But being bundled up, like being homebound so much, I definitely do understand where in a way, even you can get that like writer's block, and it can just, before you know it, and like you have that realization, you are like, okay, where exactly did I like lose myself a little bit? But COVID was a big impact on that. So, and being homebound a lot, you know, so
I know several people and they had that experience. And then I didn't know if it was, I couldn't tell how much of it was COVID and how much of it was that I was more happy and settled. Because all my songs have always been so sad. And I was like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
no.
I'm back to writing about religious trauma again. So,
hey, I mean, sometimes that makes the best of it, you know? So, and that's what the exciting improvement you have to look forward to, especially, you know, we're in the new month, we're in the new year of January. There's things going on right now with COVID and everything, but you have that now to like look forward to and to reflect. The reflection pack here. You're reflecting on 2021, and you know.
I also wanted to bring up, and of course this would get into a story for the podcast a little bit, I guess, that we both had, but I was like, do you remember what that psychic said to me? She said, if you'll get the motivation, the money will come. And so now I'm like, maybe this is it. I don't know.
I was actually thinking about that. And this is a story, like this would be a story for a different episode, because, you know, we are specifically like putting this for, we're not really strangers in this pack, but going off of both of our psychic readings and everything, my 6 months is well over up of what she was providing me. And she was really like spot on. And we definitely need to go back to her to see, especially with the new year, we need to see what is to come for our 2022, because she was genuine. It was for both of us, for Fifi and I, and our religious past and everything. It was kind of a thing where we were more on the no side than we were on the yes, but so many people were coming up, even emotional, about how just passionate she was with what she was doing, how spot on. She only asked us for our name. Like, she didn't ask any background information. And so it was definitely a crazy experience for Faith and I. And looking back on that and that experience we had, she definitely was like really spot on with a lot of things. So yeah.
I'm still riding mine out. Honestly, now I'm like, next week we talk about this. We'll talk about that story and we'll relate it to religious stuff or something.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that, everyone.
We'll come back to it. I would say the most exciting improvement I've been seeing in myself recently, I would say for me, and with this whole growth thing, I would say how I validate that it's okay to not be okay. And I mean, I guess that technically isn't really exciting. But for what I'm doing in this like personal growth and everything, and reflecting on 2021 a lot, for 2022, is the improvement that I'm putting in is just learning and taking the situations that did play out for me last year and not having any sort of like bad taste in my mouth. I'm more so improving on the acceptance of those situations that did take place. And I'm actually very much thankful. So it's having that acceptance and knowing like, hey, things may feel rocky right now, but I do know that I am going to be okay. And if you even listen to the first episode versus like where I'm at now, there has been very much like improvement there. And I think this whole year, it's going to be a lot of improvement for me, but it's also very important to recognize those small things that you are achieving, because it's getting you to where there's always room for improvement. So not technically exciting, more so on the exciting side is, I think, my career work, with where I'm working and everything. It's been stressful, but my team, I'm very thankful for them as well. And we're getting to a point now where I'm climbing up that ladder, and it's opportunity of growth and leadership. So thankful for that. But those are two different things going on. So, okay. So this one is something that we have touched base on a lot in 2021. We've talked about. So, what did the people who raised me teach me about love? What lessons do I want to keep? And what do I want to challenge? I think this was one of the ones you talked about, the childhood, but there were like 3 different childhood cards. So I don't know if I picked the right one.
It wasn't this one, so I am having to think a second.
Okay, well, I can chime in on this one, because this is kind of the childhood cards I did read over, because I didn't particularly know which one you were referring to. And not to be like sad or anything like this, but to be real in this moment and to, again, like bring it up. The people who raised me, they taught me what love was not, more so. And they, in a way, it has affected kind of my definition of love. And the lesson that I want to keep, but the challenge that I also take from this as well, is healthy love does exist. And the thing that was so hard for me being raised by them, because I always wondered why my parents could not love me. Actions speak louder than words. And that was something, why wasn't I worth it enough for you to love me, to make better decisions for me, for your daughter, in that instinct. So the lessons that I keep from that is, you can have healthy love, and you can, even in a situation where you may, as a child, have felt neglected or felt like you were not worth it to them, you absolutely will one day find that love in someone, regardless if it is relationship or even friends. Both sides, I have felt loved on both ends there. Well, not technically the relationship side, but I'm not going to jump all into that. I'll keep that for another time. But with my friends and everything, and that's where kind of the reassurance comes from. Like, what do I want to challenge for that is kind of the vulnerability aspect of it. Is I think that it's very important for the next person that I am with. They are aware of these issues. These are things that it's hard to bring up. It's hard for us to, of course, talk about our childhood, especially because that weird talking stage and you don't technically know where it's going to go, but also you do want to lay out all of the things. And I think in a way, that's why I have always thought that I was at fault in these relationships. And for the longest time, I thought it was me, that I was not capable to be loved and that I was too hard to love. And technically, it's not even because of these relationships that I've been in. It stems from, and the challenge that it has been is because of the way that my parents went about it. And so that's where it's been hard for me. But also that it was a lesson the lessons that I want to keep from it is that's not the case. I'm not hard to love. Everyone is deserving of love. And if people in your childhood, people who raised you were not able to give you that, then you will find it one day, and it may be hard to accept because at such a young age, you went through that, but it definitely will come for you. And I would also like to add, because I do have friends on here who do know a lot about my childhood, even for yourself. I do have two amazing godparents that absolutely did love me unconditionally. However, due to circumstances that took place while I was growing up and being so young, being 6 years old, you don't have a say in a lot of things. They did provide me a very loving and safe home whenever I was with them. But there was just so much that they could do due to not having that guardianship over me. So there was very limited time whenever I was younger that I was with them. But when I was, yes, absolutely, they did make me feel loved, but they also made me ask the question as, why couldn't my own mother and father love me the way that they do? Ba-dum-ts.
Oh, we just have you do a whole episode on that.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm not exactly sure how to answer each question. I would say my parents, I know that we had very opposite parental experiences. Although I think my mom would adopt you if she could.
She can adopt me now.
She recently was talking about you again. I don't remember how it came up, but I was over at the house and she's like, but Christian, I just loved Christian. She's like, I just thought she was cute. It just randomly comes up every couple months. So
love to be adopted by her. And there's even my other friends' moms. Like I could have just been in rotation. Yeah. Rotation in the friend group. Their mama's loving me. I love it because I never had it before. So like, I love mamas. I really do.
But mine, I would say, for me, what I was taught about love is I would say that they taught me it is like real love is actually unconditional. Now, don't get me wrong. When I came out, mom had a moment where she was really struggling. But you know what? We went from her, which I guess this is a story I haven't really referenced on the podcast, but it's fine. I mean, we somehow over the span of 6 years went from her literally taking every picture down of me in the house in a very dramatic way when no one was home, at least, let me say. I didn't have to watch it. From that to me and my girlfriend who I live with going over there and making vegan tacos for her and then them inviting her to go to Vegas with us. So as in my girlfriend to go to Vegas with my parents.
Yeah.
So we did have the full circle there, but and sending me home with vegan cake for Morgan. You know, that's the stage we're in. But we came out of that. But I don't know. I would just say I feel like my parents taught me that you know, when you love someone, you do stick it out, because I very much have witnessed, you know, even how my dad has been with my mom having all her heart issues and stuff. Because I mean, I had grandparents. This isn't a story, you know, but I have grandparents that did not want my dad to marry my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's because they knew that because my mom wasn't supposed to have kids, for anyone who doesn't know, because of her heart issues. And so they kind of just saw my mom as someone who couldn't give my dad all the things that they thought he wanted. And my dad's just been with her through all of the surgeries and all of the stuff. And even now, and she's having another one early February. But I don't know. I think I was taught a lot through that. I would say the one thing that I challenge, I think myself, is I never saw my parents fight. Not once. I have not one memory. I would know there's a disagreement a couple times, but nothing major.
Yeah.
And so like in my mind, it's not like, I don't feel like I saw them communicate that much, but I don't know how much was going on behind doors that I couldn't see. I would say the main thing I challenge is trying to have maybe more open communication, but I'm also, again, not real sure what they did behind doors when I wasn't around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's very important in a way, because it also shows you what they had, what they presented to you as you being their child is definitely a healthy love. Even if things were going on behind closed doors, it was still not in front of you, even being at a young age, because there are plenty of things that I remember seeing that no child should absolutely watch. And so from a standpoint of that as well, it opens you up to being able to have those communications and knowing that, like, still at the end of the day, with that unconditional love that was shown to you, that it is absolutely doable. And that's something that I think is great for you to have gone through. And your parents, the love that your dad sticking by her side, like not giving up. I think nowadays it's so easy. It's so easy for people to just give up on that. And it's just like, okay, well, and we've talked about weddings and everything. You say vows, and you shouldn't just spit those vows out to, like, for them to be meaningless. You need to stick by those. You need to remember those. And he has absolutely. And what's crazy is my mom also, it's just hear me out with this little tad sidetrack story, is I didn't know that necessarily your mother wasn't expected to not have children. My mom actually as well had 5 miscarriages before me. And it's just ironic that our names are Christian and Faith.
I didn't know that.
I just had to touch on that, because whenever you said that, I was like, damn, we're Christian and Faith here. Like, Holy Spirit booming through the podcast. Oh man. And our religious background, that just makes it even more.
Oh, how
ironic.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely see that for sure. And it opens my mind too, as well. This is actually really cool because we both have totally different kind of answers, but I'm still on this side of it. Like, I'm seeing exactly where you're coming from, Okay. So I didn't put these in any specific order, and it just so happens the last few questions we have are relationship more so related. There might be a different one, but what do I have to offer in a romantic relationship? What do I want to receive? And instantly, whenever I saw this question, whenever I saw it in the deck, my brain went to what I thought that I was offering and what I thought that was good, especially in my most recent last relationship. That's the one that I really do like take in, like how I was and try to learn from. As much as I thought I was offering good and healthy love and communication and everything, I'm realizing and understanding now that maybe it wasn't. And so the question is, what do I technically have to offer? I tend to always offer my full self. Giving it all out there. Not necessarily not in a week, I'm not saying that, but if I very much so care about a person and see something with them, I do try to offer everything that I can, but to them, and I can't speak on their behalf, but to all the relationships that I have had, maybe what I thought that I was offering was not beneficial to them. And so really holding myself kind of accountable right now. This question really stuck out to me. So what can I offer moving forward? I can offer someone that I will stand by their side through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And of course, I will love them. I will support them. I will do whatever I can to make the relationship work, like I always have in my past. However, in order for me to offer that, and for someone moving forward to even get that, I have to get the same energy back and the same exact effort. And that's the thing, I will know now if I'm not getting that. And I will walk my 5'2" happy ass out the door. But what do I want to receive? That's it. I want to receive the exact same energy and the exact same effort right back. And I don't want to beg anyone to love me ever again. And if they don't, then I know I need to put my foot down and love myself in that moment and remove myself from the equation, no matter how bad I want it to work and no matter how bad they may mean to me. It isn't, it can't work. It can't be one fucking sided. So
that matched energy is real nice when you get it. I will say.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Worth the wait, I will say.
I can only imagine, yeah.
My answer, you're like, when you were like, offer my full self and stuff, I was like, okay, I was thinking way too small. I was thinking about like a singular trait that is like,
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's what I said. That's the problem with these questions is I can go on a deeper, that's just who I am. I go on a fucking deeper soapbox. I hear myself and I'm like,
no, I like it. I'll just go with what had came to mind. So my bigger two things to offer is, which is what the current relationship I'm in has taught me, is one, I'm really good at good communication.
Yeah.
And if the other person's not, now, well, let me rephrase what I was going to say. If the other person is not great at that communication, but they're willing to work on it, I can really get us somewhere.
Yeah.
Because this was a whole thing that, took some time. And so that, and then also the other big thing I have to offer, this is what Morgan says she loves the most about me. I asked, because we have the relationship cards for this. And it's like, what's something you love about me the most or something? I don't remember what the question was. And Morgan's actual answer was, you're a dad. And I was like, what do you, like, that's really your answer? And so, you know what? Y'all called me Paranoid Patty in the house, but that's why she's still with me.
Yeah.
That's how it seems. Because I'm the one that's like, all right, we got to renew your tags. You need to go get an emissions test by this date. And you need to go hurry up before the crowd goes. Oh, and I'm like, we need to go get this. We need to go get an air filter. We need to do this.
You're on top of your shit. You definitely have dad mode for sure.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the dog, it's very much like I'm the practical parent who's like, got to buy the dog food. We need more common treats. We need the teeth bones. We should plan this vet visit. And then Morgan's probably the one that gives the dog like more attention than me. But but I'm like, and so, yeah. So I'm the one that's like practical and is like, oh, we need to, these maintenance things should probably get done.
Yeah. No, I definitely
put it on a radar.
It's definitely a good thing though. It's not the dad jokes. Yeah, we did make jokes about that whenever we lived together. But honestly, like that's kind of like, in a way, I would say like it can be even a turn on for someone, like having your shit together like that, like especially in a relationship and everything, like it can definitely be a thing where they just admire that about you. And I'm sitting here thinking and I'm like, damn, Faith is in that spot where she can sit down and they have a relationship pack to read off of. And I can't wait till the day that I can sit down and ask someone something. What is like the first thing that comes to mind? What is it that you love about me? That is a really good question to have for someone, for real.
Yeah. No, they
love, man.
They were interesting to do. We've like started to go through them again, like every now and then, like at least maybe like once every couple weeks. Morgan's like, what if we break them out and we'll just go through a few?
Yeah, no, I like that.
And you can always kind of go through them again if there's enough time between and the answers can change. So
yeah. Well, damn, I might have to look into that, but okay, this isn't necessarily a relationship-y question. I know there's a few more, but what have I outgrown recently? What am I growing into?
When I say that I've outgrown what I'm about to say, I'm not trying to make it sound like it's just the only thing that really comes to mind. And I'm not trying to say people who do like doing these things have not grown up, because that's not what it is. It's more so just the stage of life I found myself in. But, looking back, there was that little period of time where, do you recall going to play like sometimes twice a weekend? I don't want to know how much money I spent. Because that was back when I was living at my grandmother's house and I didn't really have crazy bills to pay for. So I was just balling. And, the funny thing is during most of that time, I'd still never been drunk before. So I don't know what I was doing. Or maybe that's incorrect. I don't know. But I just have found that I just don't care to go out like that anymore. Like even once, like the couple times we've tried, it's just like we go and then I'm like, why did I do this?
No, I definitely, I feel that. I think my question is kind of similar too, like my answer.
What I would say, and what I would say I've grown into, I think it's just that I've gotten more into, which with COVID and stuff, we haven't really been doing what I'm about to say, especially with my mom going to have surgery. So I've been laying extra low for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say we do preferably, I like going out to, like we went and got brunch with a couple people. It's been a while, but like doing that kind of thing and more like daytime things and getting that time in for conversations and stuff before, the alcohol takes over.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's my biggest thing.
I think that is
cheaper.
Very similar to like my thing as well, because I mean, we lived under the same roof. I was there for the whole play experience and everything. And I definitely I've come to the conclusion, especially with my inner child and my childhood, that I tend to be a people pleaser type thing. I absolutely love being around people. I enjoy laughing and having a good time. I think that is something that I too have outgrown in a way. I don't technically think you have to go to a nightclub to enjoy and have a good time with the people that are in your life. I also think that I've, in a way, have outgrown people to where I still love them. I still support them, but I'm also realizing for my own personal health, my own mental health side and everything, that it is okay to outgrow people. And it's also okay to love and support them from a distance. I'm not saying tell them to F off or anything, but that is something where in a friendship, you were talking about the willingness and the communication of the willingness. And I'm at the point now where I really do love to communicate about my feelings, but I also love to, this is more so what I'm growing into. I also am learning to not only validate my feelings, but having the open mind more so of how they are feeling. And in that moment, with especially friendships coming together to have an agree to disagree moment and being mutual with one another to work on that. And so that's kind of what I am growing into, is more so of the, if I have a problem or if I feel iffy about a situation where technically I may need reassurance. Reassurance is a thing in friendships too. Then I want to be able to be open with them and having that conversation. That way we can all be on the same page and we can fix that. But that's where the outgrowing of people come from, because if the willingness is not there to do it, then again, that would be one-sided, and I'm not putting effort there anymore.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how long they have been in my life and have been a friend. If it's not benefiting me, if I don't feel supported or loved in a way, then that's where you kind of have to not cut the ties or anything, but friends need space too from one another. So
yeah.
I
think we can do one more.
Yeah, let's see. Ooh. Okay. Whew, okay.
That scares me.
We'll go with this one. We'll do a little bit of eeny, meeny, miny, mo real quick. Okay, so what have I tolerated from people in the past that I no longer have space for?
The main thing that comes to mind, it gets kind of relationshipy, but I would say the main thing I tolerated in the past, which this would have been, a good few years ago, but like people's wishy-washiness with me when you're like talking to people and stuff. I'm like, look, I feel like, and again, Morgan could leave me tomorrow and then I'll get thrown right back in the dating world. And I won't actually follow anything I'm about to say right now. But I want to believe that now if put in that spot, I would just be like, yeah, I'm not playing your game. So I'm going to go and you can do you.
Yeah. No, 1000%. I think, again, similar answer. We were talking about vows and how whenever you marry someone, you make that commitment, you have vows. And I was talking to someone today a little bit about past relationships, because I'm realizing there are triggering moments that I do have, and I don't want to compare those triggering moments to my present. And so in a way, we got into a conversation about having vows to yourself. And so like you're saying right now, what you're saying is you want to say that you won't do that. And the way that I am is I kind of have put a vow for myself as well of what I would not tolerate moving forward going into my life. I think what I have tolerated is having the hope and holding on to something, thinking that a person will change. And what I have tolerated in that moment is that hope is what made me tolerate the situation and the things that were going on, because in my own personal opinion, like during those times and everything, I really did want to believe and have that hope that things were going to get better and that they were going to work out. But I tolerated things that, looking back, I wish that I wouldn't have. And it's not necessarily one specific thing. There were a lot of things that led up to different moments. But I would say overall, like to make it short and simple and kind of sweet, I wouldn't tolerate bullshit. I wouldn't tolerate games. I wouldn't tolerate I will not fucking tolerate exes any longer. I will not. If that is like one of my first questions, a questionnaire of, are you still in communication with your ex? And when did you end? Because I'm not one of those people that like, oh, you can't be friends with like your ex. Like, I mean, I think if you're fucking an adult, I think people lose that way of knowing that you are an adult and you don't have to play childish games. But like, also, if you're hooking up with your ex still on random nights that you're sad and need an appointment for it, then absolutely not. But I think in a way, like, I just put up with some shit that like just was way beneath my level of things that I put up with, because it kind of became a recurring cycle with all my past relationships and exes being involved. And so, yeah, I won't fucking tolerate any exes. I don't want to hear about it. I want to hear about it in the beginning because I want to know where it's at, because I don't want them to randomly pop up. But like, y'all ended for a reason. That they wouldn't be your ex if it worked out. And so, yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Oh man, yeah.
There was your soapbox for this one.
I could go on a longer soapbox, but also it's just, I'm kind of in that weird middle of where, holding myself accountable and being open-minded to situations that like a relationship takes two.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in all of my relationships, again, not out to spite anyone, I do wholeheartedly wish them well. But also I'm at the point where like, I really don't care. Like if you're going to hurt me, if you're going to break my heart, like truth always comes out as it is. And so if it happens, shit happens. But also it's one of those things where I wasn't perfect either. So they didn't want me for a reason. They wanted to end it. They didn't want to love me. So like no pity party to me. There were things that I was doing that was not right, that I wasn't worth that fight, like your parents, to make it work no matter what. And that's that. That's okay. And that's where I'm coming to terms with acceptance, my guy. Just accepting it.
Eventually, I feel like someone will come along and then you'll go, oh, okay. This is why I didn't need to work before.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun.
And that's where I know it will. And I still am obsessed with love, even more so now than what I've ever been, because like, I know that it is going to come. And I know that all of these things that I went through with these relationships is exactly why. I thought for the longest time I was a placement holder in other people's lives, but actually all of those shit ships that happened is because I needed that person that I'm going to meet one day is going to answer all of these questions that I have had. And I needed all of those previous relationships to happen so I could not only learn how to provide a healthy love, but also I could learn the things that I need and the things that I will tolerate. And it's all I'm learning. I'm learning for myself and hopefully one day for that person that comes along. So
there you go.
I hope at the end of this year, like as we reflect back on this, I really do. And it's okay if I don't, because I also do love myself. I really do. I'm acceptance, being alone. I'm accepting, but I really do hope that at the end of this year, and I kind of feel it, my heart's telling me, but I hope that I come to this end episode and I get to talk about my love.
I'm hoping for you too.
I know. Yeah, well, we'll see.
We're going to see. All right. I guess we can cut it there. We can do these again another time. Some other ones or
these
something.
were good. We can check out the packs for sure. And, we hope you guys, of course, like this. It was a little different than our other episodes, but it's good to have those questions to reflect. So
y'all think about your own answers to those.
For sure.
Which I guess I should have said at the beginning, but you know what? You can back up.
Yeah. Rewind if you need to.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that does it for this week, and we will see y'all next week. Stay safe.
Peace.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
You can follow us over at No Subject Apparel on all social media.
You can discover us on YouTube.
And please like, subscribe, follow, and review us on whatever platform you're currently listening on.
New episodes will be dropped every Tuesday.
And you can sign up for our mailing list in the description of this episode to get a personal message from us and reminders for new episodes every week.